When Balan Wonderworld was first announced, I was honestly very excited. You had two legends, Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima, working on it. While most famous for their work on Sonic, this was actually pitched to be more of a successor to Nights into Dreams, a classic Saturn game. While the Sega Saturn wasn't the most popular system, if you did own one, if you knew someone who had one back in the day, chances are you played this game on it. I personally have a ton of nostalgia for Nights. I remember being blown away by it when it first came out, so I was eager to see what was going to come from this project. And this past weekend, I finally played the game for myself on Nintendo Switch. When I booted it up and was watching the opening cutscene, I was digging it. I liked the bright, cartoony, wondrous atmosphere. That all lasted about 2 minutes, or however long that cinematic is, because then the actual game starts. And when it does, you get that typical intro deal where the camera just kind of pans around to show you the area. And as soon as I saw that, I was just like, oh no. This looks like a PS2 game, an early PS2 game at that. And it's a double whammy, as not only does this game look like shit, but it runs like ass as well. Dropping frames pretty much every second that there is. When big moments happen, like a single enemy spawning, the game frequently locks up for like a full second or two, because that's just too much for it to handle. It just makes absolutely no sense when you consider how low quality these visuals are, that the game performs this bad. If these devs spent 2 days optimizing this turd, well, then that'd be 2 more days than it feels like they spent on optimization. And the controls just really top off this whole nightmare of an experience. While the game may look like a PS2 game, it does not control like a PS2 game, because it controls like a PS1 game. Yeah, back when 3D platformers were new and no one really knew how to make them, that's what this game feels like. Just completely stiff and clunky. Which again, yeah, this game is a 3D platformer. You're going through these levels designed after interests of different characters. It's sort of like a budget Psychonauts type deal where the levels are like, themed around these people, all of which have lost their hearts or something like that. I don't really care. And whatever caused them to fall in this depression or whatever ties into the theme of the world. Like, one dude wishes he could fly, which makes him sad, so his world is high up in the sky, and you've got like, fan puzzles where you gotta float on the fans pushing you up. Of course, a lot of your power-ups are flying themed. This other girl gets in a fight with her dolphin and they break up, which, that happens to all of us. So her levels are underwater themed, and I could kind of see how some of these level designs could have been good. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some decent concept art for them laying around somewhere, but in execution, they're incredibly basic and generic. So you venture around these bland levels, collecting trophies by using all the game's various power-ups that come in the form of costumes. These power-ups, boys, we gotta talk about them. So many issues. They clearly went for a quantity over quality approach. There's like 80 of them in the game. Every level has several new power-ups in it that are exclusively found like in that level. Many, of course, are just iterations of the others, like, oh, this one makes you jump and float, this one makes you jump and glide, one's sort of like a Luigi flutter jump where you're kicking your legs to get that little extra distance out of it. But it's like you've got some that are attack ones, right? Like they allow your character to throw projectiles at enemies. Well, while those costumes let you attack, you're not able to jump with them. Like when you get a power-up, it does that one action, and that's like the only action you can perform a lot of the time. So you're in a platformer, and while you're in some of these attack costumes, you can't jump. It's so much fun. And if you're in one of those costumes and you need to jump even over like a small little gap, or even just, the platform in front of you is elevated just a little bit, you've got to switch into a costume that does let you jump. Suffer through the stuttering transformation sequence, of course, so you can do your jump and then switch back after. And so there's also ones, I remember in particular, there was this one where you were like a robot that shoots lasers. In that costume, you can jump, but since jump is your action, you can't actively shoot your lasers. They shoot automatically when you stop moving. So you just stop moving to shoot if you want to shoot. If you're standing still, you got to like take a quick step forward and stop just to shoot. all of it just feels like such convoluted trash. And we've got to talk about my favorite costume, Box Fox. This one turns you into a fox wizard that randomly transforms himself into a box. And when I say randomly, I mean randomly. You do not have control over when he turns himself into a box. It happens at random, and you also can't control yourself while in box form. You just keep sliding in the direction you were moving. So you have a power-up, again, in a platformer, where you just randomly lose control over your character. How is this fun in any way? And of course, with so many of these costumes, power-ups in the game, you'll have instances where these trophies you collect in a level may require a power-up that isn't in that level. So you have to go to another level to get it and bring it back in. This is something we see in a lot of Metroidvania type games, right? Where you get a new skill or something that allows you to access a different area, you backtrack, and it's like, oh, now you can double jump or something like that, which that's fun. But these are power-ups that you lose if you die. You can like farm them and store them, but still, it's not like once you get it, you always have it. So when you're playing in a level, you have to identify first, like, which of the 80 costumes will help you get past an obstacle or allow you to get that trophy. Then go to the level with that costume in it, get the costume, exit the level, then go back to the original level to get that trophy. So tedious. Oh, and I almost forgot about the marquee character, Balan's own sections, which I figured going in was going to be an homage to Knights. You know, with the look of this character, the fact that he flies around, I assumed his sections would be, you know, you flying around a 3D space, like in the Knights games. But no, his sections are quick time events where he does like a motion and then pauses, and a shadow of him comes across the screen, and you have to press a button when his shadow lines up perfectly with his character. Yeah, gameplay. And of course, the whole time I'm playing it, I'm thinking, yeah, the game is awful, it's low quality, but not only that, it's a full-priced $60 game. And not only is it $60, but this game got a full-blown retail release. When I bought this game, I just walked into my local Best Buy and grabbed it off a rack. It's sitting there in retail stores alongside the likes of Mario, Zelda, etc. And that to me is why it feels like such a scam. This is clearly being done to trick people, you know, parents or grandparents that don't know any better, to be like, oh, here's the big new Nintendo game. Timmy would like that, because that's literally the only way you're going to be able to sell any copies of this game. And while they're the ones getting swindled by it, who really suffers from practices like this? It's the kids who end up getting this as a gift. Some kid is going to get this game instead of a Super Mario 3D World, perhaps, because, oh, you know, they're the same price, probably around the same quality, we'll just get this one. You know that happened to some kid somewhere, and I just feel so bad for them. And you know, I did a video a while back about how the Switch eShop is pretty much a cesspool, and allowing games like this on your platform at all to charge this much money for them just amplifies all that. At some point, you know, these games go through an approval process. Someone should have been like, no. You aren't getting this piece of shit on our platform. If this was the alpha of the game that I was playing, I'd be telling the developers, you still got a long way to go before this game is ready for beta. But no, they released it, charged a full $60 for it, and didn't bat an eye. This is not okay. As I stated, you're taking advantage of people, and that's clearly the intention. No one who spent 5 seconds researching this game is going to buy it. Definitely not at $60. Probably I wouldn't recommend this game for $5. So you're not going to get sales from anyone who knows what this game actually is unless they hate themselves. Yeah, you're probably going to get a few masochist sales, but the majority of people who buy this game, I've heard it's been selling awful, which is great, so that doesn't mean it's been too many people swindled by this, but yeah, most people who do end up buying it are going to be parents and grandparents who just don't know any better and end up, once more, only hurting their kids in the process. I'm serious when I say everyone involved in allowing this game to be released should be ashamed of themselves. If my name was anywhere on a project like this, I'd be begging for them to take it off. I wouldn't want anyone to know I'm partially responsible for this mess. And I'm sure some people are like, oh, come on, Shy Guy, a lot of people probably worked hard on this. Well, they didn't work nearly hard enough, because every aspect of it sucks. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. The game actually has some good bops in it. That's literally the only good thing I'm going to say about it. And I do feel like this is an instance where there's more of a story here. With how terrible this final product is, I wouldn't be surprised if we heard something, later on, like development had to be restarted when they were deep into the process and didn't have much time to complete the game, something like that. But still, that's not an excuse to sell people this piss-poor product. It'll get some people to defend it, like, oh, well, didn't you know there was all these issues? I don't care. If you have development problems, delay it. Cancel the game. You don't take $60 from people and then give them this in return. Once more, it's not okay. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Balan Wonderworld in the comments. Have you played the game yourself? And did you hate it as much as I did? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.